I Have a Dream was made famous by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dreaming is something that we do during the day or while we're sleeping. But as we get older, sometimes those dreams fade away. But when we are little, all dreams are possible, especially here. Yeah. This is the Risky Lifestyle Podcast, and I am your host, Joshua Southern, or you can call me Big Cuz, Big Smooth, Big Risky, Big Josh, whatever. But just don't call me broke. No. But look, I am here with a special guest today, and this guest is a dear friend, and we've been locked in, man, for 7 years now.
7 years, wow.
Yeah. I mean, because Josh is getting ready to be 9.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so, without further ado, Mrs. Jacqueline Taylor from Little Dreamers Daycare Center.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah,
it's definitely
yeah.
an honor to be here for sure.
Absolutely. So, man, we're just gonna have a candid conversation today, and we're gonna have some fun.
Yes.
We're gonna laugh a little bit. Hopefully, we don't cry, because I don't have any tissue over here. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, let's just go ahead and just dive right in, man. Let's tell the people who you are. And what you do, where you from.
Yes.
I know these things, but people need to know. They need to know.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Jacqueline Taylor, and I'm, like Josh said, I'm the owner of Little Dreamers Daycare Center. I am proudly from Flint, Michigan, born and raised. And yeah, I've been running my childcare center for the last 9 years now. We've been running the daycare center, and so, yeah, just having a lot of fun, doing a lot of growing and enjoying it, enjoying the ride.
Growing a lot.
Yes.
Growing a lot, yeah. And I'm, happy to see things just continue to flourish.
Yes, thank you.
I mean? Yeah, absolutely. And, being from Flint, I'm a Saginaw guy myself.
Yes.
One of the reasons I put on these black and gold colors, but also those are my business colors. You went to Flint Northern.
Flint Northern, Big Red. Vikings.
Yeah. We had a lot of animosity towards Flint Northern.
Yeah, I did. I remember quite often us whooping on y'all quite often.
Well, I mean, let me see. You came out 2002, 3?
Yep, 2002.
I mean, y'all was all right, man, but we was for sure whooping on y'all in football.
See, my mind is foggy on the football, but I do remember having to run up out of Saginaw when we did beat y'all because y'all did not handle that well.
Yep. And I remember doing the same, playing like Flint Northwestern. Yeah, we would have to kind of duck out of there real quick, because we just got on their head. But yeah, I mean, those things are what makes us.
It really is.
Some of those experiences from Saginaw, Flint, so. Let's start with I remember when.
Yes.
Since we're talking about, years ago, right? I mean, we're talking, we're talking 20 years ago almost, you know what I mean? So
absolutely.
So let's start with I remember when, and I'll start it off. So my I remember when for you is when I first met you. I'm gonna start off with that one, right?
I love it.
This is the year of 2017 or the beginning of January, February of 18. And we were transitioning from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I was working with GM down in Spring Hill, and we were looking to come back home. And Lansing had openings for me. I think Saginaw and Fort Wayne or something like that, Fort Wayne, Indiana. But I ended up choosing Lansing. And my wife had been following you, for some time, because she's one of those people that, likes to, get the ball rolling, and
Yeah, to her research. Absolutely.
does a lot of research, and just like to get the ball rolling. So yeah, she's like, hey, since we're going to go see a prospective house or houses, let's see if we can stop in and see what this daycare is about. At the time you were at home.
Yep. I remember that day.
Yeah. So it was like later on in the evening. I think it was the winter, even, but it was dark, even though it was only probably like 5:30,
Yep.
6 o'clock or something like that. And then we pulled up, and instantly the vibes were there. We're like, yeah, this is somewhere where we're gonna send our firstborn. At the time, he was 2. I think he was getting ready to turn 3. So he was 2 years old, and now he's going to be 9 in November.
Now he's going to be 9.
It's crazy.
It is wild.
Yeah.
Wild. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
A long time ago, and yeah, from there, we hit it off. I had a chance to meet your husband, my guy. Shout out to Mr. Anthony, big bro.
Yes.
And we do got to get back to that range one time too, man.
He's been talking about that too.
Yeah. I've been, recovering from surgery and all that stuff. But once I come out of it, we're going. Yeah,
I love it.
We're going.
I love it.
Yeah. So
I love that.
I will pass it over to you. That's I remember when.
So my remember when will have to be when I first started the business. And I say that because I'm so grateful to have families like you and Alicia, and to have watched, now both of your kiddos. Like, that really means a lot to me. And when I first started this business, when the idea first came to me, I was absolutely terrified. So terrified. Like, I just thought, I knew I was good with kids. Like, it's something that had always come so natural to me, since I was younger. But starting a business, especially in my own home, and then, according to Lansing, once again, I'm from Flint. But according to Lansing, the South Side isn't the most desirable location. Absolutely. And so here I am in the middle of the South Side trying to start a business where I'm watching kids. And I just had all the doubt and the fear in my mind telling me, this is crazy. Are you even going to book clients? Are people going to come to this side of town? Like, there was just, your house is so small. Like, any type of doubt that you can think of literally would invade my thoughts. But I continue to make steps forward. And so I have to shout that out as my remember when, because of that step. Like, I've been able to care for families such as yours, and then so many now families and kids that we've been able to care for. And that just means so much to me. Like, I could not have imagined that God would have taken something that started so small, like in my home, and like just kind of blown it out of the water, like how he has. And so it's been a wild ride, but that has to be my remember when, because if I did not continue to push past that doubt, I would not have met you, Alicia, and so many of the other amazing families that we have.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's why we don't despise small beginnings.
Yes.
I mean, just like, for me, I started in the basement. Well, let me go back. Started in a small office in Tennessee. Then I moved to the upstairs office at my house.
Yep.
Then I moved to the basement.
I remember.
Yep. I mean, I think we cut something down there.
We did.
Yeah. I think I still have it somewhere. And then, moved down the hall, right here downtown East Lansing.
Yes.
And then a year later, we moved here to this bigger space. So, but you said something though that kind of registered with me though. Like, sometimes you got to push past the doubt.
Absolutely.
Like, man,
Absolutely.
like what? Like, should I be doing this? Like,
Right?
should I really be like putting my money into this, or like? But once you get that okay from God, like, now it's on Him to continue to make His word come true, right?
Yes.
He looks over His word to perform it, right? You know what I mean? So, so those are some things that even for myself, just what, like, He told me, like, yeah, this is going to be, something that is going to grow and it's going to continue to grow, and I have you, and I've seen the fruits of that. He's had you. I mean,
listen, yes.
You went through a whole pandemic.
Yes.
You went through all this, and it was at your house.
Yes.
It was at your
Pandemic
house.
was wild.
Yeah.
Like I'm so grateful because that was such an uncertain time for so many
Yeah.
people. And like if there was ever a time where I have seen God's hand and I've seen his hand move, but Lord have mercy that pandemic. We
Yeah.
were having families who continued to pay invoices
Hmm.
even though care was closed just to support me and the team. I used to wake up to envelopes in the mail with cash in it
Wow.
and receive text messages like, hey, whatever you can do for payroll for you and the team. And that meant a lot to me because I still had a couple of assistants, even though we were a home,
Absolutely.
provider or facility at the time. And so just seeing how our families rallied together for us, like, I know it's so cliche to say, like, oh, it takes a village. It really does.
It really
And
does.
so we often love to be on the giving end of that. Like, I love being a part of families' villages, like that is my pleasure. But to see our families turn around and be a village and a support to us at the time where we needed it,
Yeah.
like that spoke volumes. It spoke
Absolutely.
volumes. So
Absolutely.
that was amazing, and that is how we navigated that time. And so
Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, and it just continues, man. I see all the pictures. I see all the posts. Shout out to Miss Maria. She does a fantastic
she
job. She
does.
is actually here, but you can't see her. She's off camera right
She
now.
is. And I'm
Um,
sorry, I know this is going to embarrass her, but Miss Maria is a whole vibe. Like when I talk to my other entrepreneurial friends, they like, I need a Maria. They don't say I need help or I
no,
need
I
an
need a Maria.
assistant. They say I need a Maria. And I think that that should be noted.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Like she definitely holds you down.
Yes.
Very very punctual, very detail oriented.
Absolutely. And just a
And
good friend,
yeah,
a great friend. And what I love is that we were friends before we worked together. And that
yeah,
does not always work with
yeah,
people.
for
But
sure.
Miss Maria called it first when I met her. We were just setting up at a friend's baby shower and she was attending the shower and we met each other. And she looked at me when we were leaving and she said, I feel like we're supposed to do something together. And that just
Mm,
stood out to me. It is framed. It's like a picture
yeah,
in my mind. I remember how she looked at me, the way she held her arms after she said it and everything. And
yeah.
that was like a moment. I had no idea. We thought we were going to do, oh, let's do an event planning company. Like we started a lot of different businesses, but when it came to childcare and then to see it, I was like, oh my Lord, this is what we were supposed to do together.
Yeah,
And so I could not imagine doing this without Miss Maria. And so I have got to give her flowers.
please, please. I mean, that's what this podcast is all
Yes.
about, is giving people their
Yes,
flowers, And so,
absolutely.
man, hey, we passing flowers to everybody.
Yes,
You
I
know what I
love
mean?
it.
Yeah, yeah. So, let's stay here though. Let's stay right here. So so you started your daycare at your home. What what year was this?
2015. In 2015, I what's funny is I was working a job at the time, and I remember this day I sat at my desk almost to tears, and I was like, Lord, I'm so ready to do something that you've called me to do,
Mhm.
something where I can use my creativity and my passion and just kind of like do something that will require all of that. I was like, if there's anything or whatever you have for me, God, I'm just asking, blah, blah, blah. And so I said this prayer and I finished that day of work, and me and 13 other people in that department got called into the office and our whole department got let go that
Wow.
day. And I sat at home and I said, that is not what I meant, Lord. I don't know what you got going on. But because that happened, I had to make a decision.
Yeah.
And so I prayed about it and I said, all right, I'm either going to update my resume and get back out here because I've always had good jobs.
Sure.
I said, or I'm going to go back to school so that I can further my education, or I'm gonna start this business.
Yeah.
Those are the
Yeah.
three things that I got. God, what you got? What you want me to
What you
do?
got for me?
Prayed about it. Kid you not, Josh. Had a dream that night. And when I woke up, like in this dream, I had woke up and I was getting my day started.
Mm.
And so I still had on pajamas and I walked into the living room and there were so many families in my living room, parents dropping kids off, fixing up, dresses and making sure they looked prim and proper and giving hugs and kisses and walking out the door. And I'm in the dream like, what's happening? What's going on? And
Yeah.
so it was all these babies getting dropped off to my house. So when I woke up, I said, okay, Lord, I am terrified, but I'm going to take that as a sign that I need to go ahead and start this business because I have been
Mhm.
talking about it for so long. And I had a friend who started a home child care facility out in Hope. It wasn't until I talked to her that I even knew that you can get licensed to run a daycare business in your home. So I had no idea that this was even a possibility.
Wow.
And so after that dream, I started going through the proper licensing steps to get us licensed. Again, terrified the entire time. But I'm so grateful that I kept going and that I did not look back. And so that was a real moment, for me.
Yeah, I mean that man, entrepreneurship can be scary. But
Terrifying.
but you know what? Like sometimes, man, we ask God for stuff. Like, and I feel like sometimes we just say it just to be saying it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And then like when he makes it happen, now we all shook, we all
Yes.
scared. Like,
Yes.
we didn't just ask for this thing,
Yep.
right? You know what I mean? And I've had some reflection, over the past couple of months, just like Lord, like I was at GM, and,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, like, I kind of got this, like the studio going, I wish I can do that full time, blah, blah, blah. And it happened.
Yep. Yep.
And
And
then
isn't it wild?
I'm kind of like, man, I wasn't ready yet.
Right. This isn't the way I thought it
I
was
know I
gonna
was
happen.
asking, they came with the opportunity for a buyout and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So, I ended up taking it. Man, but yeah, like sometimes when I see people asking and like they're not even ready. You
Yep.
know what I mean? But from what I've seen from you, is that, you might have been scared, man, but you didn't strapped up your boots,
Thank you.
and then you just, you kept on stepping,
Yes.
and through from 2015 to almost 2025,
Yeah.
10 years.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And
It's
it would blow your mind the things that has happened within those 10
10
years.
years, yeah.
It's wild. Even now to be at a center, I remember when people would say that, "Oh, Miss Jackie, you gonna have a center," and I'm like, no,
No,
I'm not.
not me.
I said, I don't want a center. I was really happy and content at
Yeah,
home with those
yeah,
babies. Like they become a part of your family, and so
yeah.
like I was so happy and so content. Marie and I, she used to work with me when we were back at home, and
Mhm.
we thought we were living the life. Just being able to stop in the middle of the day and walk these babies to the park, it was like, this is the best. Like, this is amazing. This is so
Absolutely.
much fun. And so to then see how, because I had to have a conversation with myself, and it was like, okay, so if you don't want to have a center, like if you just want to kind
Yeah,
of get a bigger house and expand this operation at home, like, what does that look like 10, 20 years from now? Because
absolutely.
this is something that I planned on kind of being in. And so when I thought about myself, and there's nothing wrong with it, when I thought about myself as like 50, 60, still at home with kids, and like, it was like,
Mhm.
no, I need to advance beyond this. You know what I mean? Like, we need to be able to care for more kids. And then I would need to train up other people to kind of help me in this, because if I stay home, all of the love and the nurturing and the knowledge that I have from child development, it just stays with me. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And the kids that come to my program, they get to benefit from it. But like, when I retire, all of that stops. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
see?
didn't,
Yeah.
so that didn't sit well with me. And so then it was like, okay, well, what do we got to have a center? And then little by little, I felt like God continued to build my faith to the point where in 2021, a year after the pandemic, which is wild,
Yeah.
here we are moving and expanding from home to center. You know what I mean?
I know all about it. I know all about it. Like,
Yes,
what?
you were
Like,
there.
yeah.
I got pictures of you and your babies helping us paint
Pain and
and
all
run
that.
errands.
Yeah.
Yes,
Come
to
on
get
now.
that center set up. And so then to be in the center now, just 3 years old as a center, and to be
It's already
in
been three
yet, it's
years?
only been 3 years. We're only 3 years old as a center.
Man, it seemed like it's been longer though.
It does. But to be like in negotiations with one of the biggest collaborations, you know what I mean? To be in phases now where we're just at the end of phase one. We're almost at the finish line of finishing our first expansion, which is adding those 3 additional
Yeah.
classrooms. It's going to take our capacity from 30 to 60. And so the phase two is us moving to that new location on Green Lawn. We're going to be a
Mhm.
part of that big, the old McLaren here in Lansing. But we got to collaborate with Child and Family Charities, and they want to
Wow.
bring us on as their provider right on
That's
campus,
dope.
where we get to
That's dope.
collaborate with all of these other industries that we already collaborate with. Like
That's
they're going to
dope.
have like CMH offices there. They're going to have like all of these different programs and just organizations that are geared towards helping families right at our fingertips. And so it's so
Absolutely.
amazing to be included in that and to be looking at yet another expansion. And so
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
big deal to us, and we are honored, and we don't take that lightly.
Yeah, I mean, like you already got into the, to the where are you now
Yeah. Oh, I'm
segment
sorry.
already. No, 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 we good. No, we good. We are so I mean that was a smooth, seamless transition, right? I
Yeah.
mean, so we start the center right after the pandemic.
Yes.
And now we're in expansion mode. Let's talk about that a little more.
Yes,
Like, so, like, what are you adding? Like, what are like these classrooms gonna
absolutely.
consist of?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's
So
talk
we
about that.
recognize that there is a need for high quality early childhood
Yeah.
education. And so, especially because we are in the south side of Lansing, our team is so passionate about making sure that every family has access to that quality care. And so, it's a big deal to us to represent childcare, especially in the sector that needs it most in our
Yeah.
city right now, I feel. And so, yeah, like we are adding 3 additional classrooms, one in which is going to be a GSRP classroom because we
Ooh.
recognize that that is a benefit to our families to be
Yeah.
able to offer that. And our team is really passionate about that continuity of care.
Yeah.
And so there is nothing to me more special and more dear to getting a kiddo in their infancy and walking them through each stage of their development up into kindergarten. And so GSRP is an excellent resource for our families. And so we felt like it was time for us to go ahead and take that step and to add that to our program so that our families can take
Wow.
advantage of that as well. So
That's
we're
amazing.
very excited about adding GSRP as one of our classrooms. And then there's definitely need for more toddler spaces. So that's going to be an additional
Yeah.
classroom. And then one classroom that we have found that has been really helpful is a transitions classroom. And so this classroom specializes, and we're working with our fantastic teacher who holds us down in that classroom, but we're taking kiddos that are maybe too old to be in our infant and toddler classrooms, but not quite yet ready for our young pre-K classroom. And they have a space that has a smaller classroom with a smaller ratio and more one-on-one time with that teacher, so that they may need a little bit more time in their development, and that's
Absolutely.
okay. But that classroom gives them space to do that and gives us space to give them time so that they're not feeling rushed throughout their development. So
Man, that makes
we're
so much
excited
sense.
about adding that classroom
Yeah,
as
I mean,
well.
man, we for sure need early childhood development. And because even for my daughter right now, she's going into preschool. You know
Yep.
what I mean? So she's 4 years old now, and like I know that has to be a crazy journey to like, especially just talking from like my experience,
Yeah.
like Layla started with you
Yeah.
since she came out the womb.
Yes.
You know what I mean? When my wife was working with you, right? So
Yep.
like, she comes out of the womb up until what, 3? Yeah, yeah, I think she was
Yep.
3, and then she ended up going to a early GSRP program
Yep.
with Waverly, and now she's going to Patton Guild. But man, like to be able to see like that journey, man, and to see these
Yes.
kids development, that has to be like so rewarding.
It is. There is nothing like it. And it's so funny too, because in the fall time, all of us, we prepare our hearts as providers, as we know. Here comes the fall. I got kiddos that are about to go to school. You know what I mean? I just ushered off twins that we cared for since they were 3 months old. And so we try to keep it together, but this is a real connection that we're establishing with these families. Like, we love these babies in real
And I know
life.
these twins.
We do.
And I've seen these twins, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like from the time, work with
Yes.
their dad and all that stuff. So
Absolutely. And so that means a lot to us,
wow,
and
man,
it's such an honor because this is such an important and vulnerable time in their lives. And so to be able to be a part of that, to be able to sow seeds, to be able to see, little glimpses of who they're going to be
hmm,
when they get older. I may not know, but I'm like, that's a leader right there. You know what
that's
I
a leader.
mean? Like,
That's a leader.
one thing about even your son, Josh, one of my best leaders to this day. Like, he has
Yeah,
so much integrity. Even as a child, he has so much integrity. And so
yeah,
the way that we were able to have real conversations, like, one thing about us in childcare is, I know people think it's, oh, they're Mary Poppins. It's not. It's really how me and you are talking right now.
absolutely.
Me and Josh would have conversations with this same pace, and I would tell him, like, you're a leader, honey. Do you know what that means? And he knew, because we got to really plant that in him. Yes, a leader does what's right even when no one is looking. I'm like, that's right. And so we would talk about it. But I just love to see how he has grown and blossomed and continued on to be the amazing leader that I've always seen in
Yeah,
him.
yeah. I mean, and
Always.
like, yeah, so like even when I think about my son in that regard, there are leaders that are born, and there's leaders that are like kind of like shaped and molded into that, right?
Yep.
But man, I feel like he came out the womb.
He did.
He was just a
He
leader, man. Like
He's been a leader
and
since he was very little. I would hear him talking to his friends. We are not supposed to do that. Miss Jackie said no. And I'm like, come on, get him. Yes, baby.
yeah, yeah,
Have some
yeah.
integrity in the playroom. Like,
He still does it. He does it even on the basketball court
I
now. He's
love
like, hey,
it.
hey, like we supposed to be doing it, blah, blah, blah,
I love it.
and that's just him. And one thing, like even for my kids, like you made such a crazy impact on them. You know what I
Thank you,
mean? Where
Josh.
like they like always talk about, oh yeah, I remember when went to the park, we was doing this and that. Like I remember Miss Jackie, she was making all this great food for us,
Yes,
blah blah blah, and that's something that we need to talk about too. Like
absolutely.
your like fresh ingredients, like your garden, that you
Absolutely,
have, and
yes.
all that stuff too. So, yeah, let's since we are, where are you
Absolutely.
now? I
That
mean,
is a
like this is
passion
some,
of mine.
yeah,
So one thing I remember about my own childhood is the food. Like
yeah,
one thing about my mom was that we was gonna eat good. Like it didn't matter
absolutely,
what we was going through. We
absolutely,
always had something amazing to eat. And my friends would always rave, oh yeah, your mom this, your mom that. And so she really instilled that love for cooking in me. And even also just with the natural aspect of making sure we're eating as organically and
that's good,
nutritionally as
yeah,
possible, especially for our babies. Like I've seen it myself where, when you feed them something that is wholesome and healthy, I'm telling you, the behavior is different
it's different,
versus when we feed them things that are full of like empty carbs and sugar. It's hard to get them to listen. It's like all of these different things. And
yeah,
so, like,
absolutely,
we care about the whole child that we are developing. I don't care about, just making sure ends meet at the end of the week. I'm looking at the whole child. What does this baby need for their development?
hmm
What do they need nutritionally? And so that's another passion of ours. And so one thing that we have incorporated in our program is a garden. And so I started gardening with the kids. And in that, I learned that they are more open to trying new things, new vegetables. We eat microgreens. They have no idea the types of vegetables that they
hmm
eat. And then some of them will tell me, I don't eat broccoli, Miss Jackie. And I'll say, okay, sweetheart. And they eat broccoli.
they eat
They
broccoli,
eat
they
broccoli.
eat it,
They eat
absolutely,
broccoli
absolutely,
microgreens. They eat it in their rice. Like they have no idea that the ways that we sneak veggies in to make sure they're getting all that they need. But now that's become such a huge part of our program where
yeah,
I'm even so proud now. Like I think last week we were able to harvest from our garden and each staff member got to take home herbs and tomatoes and whatever little things that the kids have been growing for us. And that was really cool. And so that's a big part of our program, making sure that we are cooking for those babies. They
yeah.
are eating homemade from scratch spaghetti sauce. If spaghetti is on the menu, Miss Jackie has made that sauce herself.
And I've dabbled in
Yeah.
some of these things, and they are very delicious.
Thank you.
And they are wholesome. I mean, it's fresh,
Yes.
and like yeah, like my kids still talk about that
I
to
love it.
this day,
I love it.
So yeah, man, just continue doing it because we don't have a lot of people doing it. Some
Yeah.
people, they buying pre-packaged stuff,
Yep.
they buying all this, this stuff that's
It,
filled
it's
with
hard.
yeah, yeah,
It's hard, and especially with what we have to go through to even get access to reimbursements from the food program, it's
yeah.
very hard, and it makes it. And this is why I have to shout the team out because I don't want to make this look like it's easy because I
Mhm.
feel like if everybody had a team who can rally together like that, more people would make those choices. But because we are up against the battle, I just got riders on my team. I'm sorry if I can say
Riders,
that.
riders, riders. Yeah,
We are from Flint. We're from Detroit. We're from all over. We are a beautiful boho rainbow of what
yeah,
early childhood should look and be like. I love that we have so much different culture on our team, but we are committed. And so that comes at a cost that we are willing to pay. It's
yeah.
not easy to juggle all the responsibilities of an owner and working in to try to make sure that our hearts are in the classrooms when it comes to
Still,
their development and still make sure we're meeting the state requirements, the food programs requirements, and all everybody else's requirements who has
absolutely,
requirements for us.
absolutely.
And so it's not easy, but that is something that we think is a non-negotiable. So my team will fight. And so now it's not just me. Miss Maria will hop in that kitchen. And
Maria,
now we have our other teammates, our other admin, Miss
yeah.
Shani, Miss Akiba, they'll hop in the kitchen, Miss
Miss
Abby.
Sandy,
We
yeah,
have so
yeah,
many
yeah. She's
different
solid too.
hands now, but they understand why this is so important. And so even on the busiest day, I want to, even yesterday, if we could talk about yesterday was a wild day, super busy, super hands on. And somehow Miss Maria still has time while she's balancing, turning in reports to make homemade sloppy joes and a side
Mm.
of mixed vegetables within. I'm like, come on, Miss Maria, that's important to us.
Speaking my
So
language right
we
there, sloppy
fight. We
Joe.
do. We fight to make sure that those babies are eating healthy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, that's man, that's so important, man. We did a lot of that with Josh. Just as he was coming up, man, I think his first birthday cake was like some kind of organic
Yeah.
flour cake with,
Yes,
some kind of like whipped low sugar, I don't know, frosting and all this.
absolutely.
And we kind of did fall back a little bit with lately. I ain't gonna lie, but
It's
we still
okay.
try to make sure that they're eating the proper things.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so like now, we kind of, we're gonna take just a little slight little break. Maybe we're gonna get into these, a little fun little
I
segments,
love it.
right?
I'm ready.
We're gonna take a little break. So first one is what you got on your feet there.
Oh, right now?
What you got on your feet? Yeah, what you
Okay.
got on your feet?
Do I need to show them? Can they see
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
if you want to take it off, or I
Oh
mean,
no.
if you want to,
Polish my little shoe. Right now, I am rocking
yeah.
some nice suede pink Tory Burches that I
Ooh,
proudly got on discount
TB.
because there's always a sale to be found. Shout out to my Aunt Ronnie for teaching me how to shop. But
Hey,
I believe in finding great deals on
I love a good
discounts. And
deal.
so today we are rocking a nice flat loafer. I can still chase kids if I need to, but I can still look professional if I need to show
Absolutely.
up to an
Well,
interview. So
well put
that's what we're
together. Yeah,
rocking.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, for me, I call these. Man, I'm move this mic a little bit, but I call these, them Space Jam nines. Um, because I'll show you there. I'll show you over there too. Here in the middle. But um, this shoe was special to me because Michael Jordan had these on in the movie Space Jam that came out
Nice.
in like 96, I
Yeah.
think, 95, 96. I'm like 7 years old then. And I remember him, Bugs Bunny, grabbing these off the shelf for him. And, and then he put them in the bag and then took them back to Mike, who was in Cartoon Land,
Yes.
and he had these on while he was practicing.
I
And
love it.
he never actually played in these, but he had them on Space Jam. And since we're talking about kids, I thought I would wear these
I
today.
love it. I
You
love the
know,
reference.
yeah,
I
because
love the history behind the shoe.
yeah, it's a little history. I call them Space Jam
I
nines.
love it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, so yeah, that is what you got on your feet there.
I love that.
Thank you for participating. It was fun. So now we can get into top five.
All right. I'm
Top
ready.
five. You got them
Top
locked and
five
loaded.
cartoons.
Top five cartoons of
I do.
all
I feel like
time.
I'm locked and loaded.
You
I'm gonna
want to go
let you.
first?
Yeah, you
Or
go
you want me to
first.
go first?
You go first. You
All
go first. Cause I
right.
want to make sure you don't steal none of mine.
Okay. So like when I'm talking to these cameras, just know that these are my top five, and then I got a couple honorable mentions in there too.
I got
But
you.
these are my top five cartoons of all time. All right. So starting number one. Well, no particular order really. Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold. So many life lessons in that cartoon. It was about this football headed boy that had this black friend with a high top fade. His name was Gerald. And they lived in New York, I believe. It was supposed to be based in New York, but man, a kid that had integrity. He had good friends around him. Wasn't afraid to be himself. And yeah, like
I
I
love
just love
that.
the cartoon. And they came out with the movie later, and then there was a newer movie that came out on Netflix that was good too. Where you actually get a chance to see Arnold's parents and all this stuff.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's crazy. They were lost in the jungle somewhere. It was
Oh
crazy.
yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to check that out.
but yeah. So Hey Arnold, all Looney Tunes. I mean, that's just something that I grew up on. Early Saturday morning,
Yep.
give me a nice bowl of cereal.
Come on.
You know what I mean? And for some reason, me and my older brother, shout out to my older brother Emmanuel, he he would get up first all the time.
Hmm.
I don't know why. He was the oldest, but he would already have the cartoons going.
Yeah.
And we would sit in my dad's chair because my dad had his own chair. This was when the sitting room was upstairs, had like a nice entertainment center in there, all this and that. And we would both have like just tidy whitey drawers on, t-shirt, you know what I mean? And we have a bowl of cereal.
Yep.
And we both would get in my dad's chair. And sometimes we would have a blanket or sometimes we'd just put our t-shirt over our knees and we're eating cereal and we're watching the Looney Tunes
I
or
love
we're
it.
watching whatever, right? So Looney Tunes, Rugrats, is definitely I mean,
Rugrats is definitely on the list.
don't really need to even explain Rugrats, but Rugrats was a great show.
Absolutely.
Um, Tommy, Chucky, Phil and Lil, Susie, Angelica, and then um, I actually like this one, even though I kind of toyed with this one, but I love Rocco Modern Life.
Really?
Yeah, like for some reason, I kind of toyed with that one, but after I kind of did, a little toiling, I'm like, you know what, that was like one of my shows
One of
at
your
that time.
shows.
Yeah, yeah. And then lastly, the Magic School Bus.
Wow,
The
you
Magic,
reached back for that one.
yeah, like the Magic School Bus taught me a lot about science and stuff like that. And
Yep,
I'm a um I'm a nerd at heart,
absolutely.
and like I love seeing like stuff about history, science, and like just really how things work, how things break down. And I think that's one of the reasons why, like, even like when I do my music or I'm doing my podcast, I like putting things together. I like, hearing different things, the different sounds and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, those are my top five. And then I got honorable mentions that I'm just gonna go through real quick, right?
Okay.
So, honorable mentions: Doug, Recess, um, Marvel, Spider-Man, Batman,
Come on.
Ninja Turtles,
Yep.
Bobby's World,
Oh, Bobby's World was my show.
Ren and Stimpy, and DuckTales, and Darkwing Duck, and lastly, Captain Planet.
Oh, Captain Planet was on my list. I was hoping that you didn't see him coming.
But those are my honorable mentions. But because when I think about those honorable mentions, like Doug could have easily been on there.
Yep,
I think Recess could have been on there.
absolutely.
Ninja Turtles could have been on my list.
I'm surprised X-Men wasn't on there.
X-Men. So when I think about it, I watched it because my brother was watching it.
Mm,
I mean, I enjoyed it.
yeah,
I had like X-Men video games on
for
Sega and all
sure.
that stuff, right?
Yeah,
But like, was it my show? It wasn't my show.
I got you.
It was because my brother was watching it and
I
I
hear
would watch it.
you.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I got that whole Batman, X-Men, that was our kind of like Saturday morning because I
yeah,
had older brothers too. So we
absolutely,
had to get through the Batmans and the X-Men. But Batman was my show. Like,
absolutely.
Batman was
Batman
my
was great.
show. X-Men was good too. I'm not mad. They brought it
X-Men was
back
very
too.
good.
Like, so
X-Men was
it's on
very good.
Netflix, I think, right
Yeah, yeah,
now.
it's like
But
X-Men 97, they
those are
call
good
it. Yeah.
shows. But for me, Rugrats is definitely on my list. Rugrats, Captain Planet is on my list. I love Captain Planet. I feel like they need to do a remake of Captain Planet.
Can we sing the song real quick?
Come on,
Maybe just a little
Captain
bit.
Planet. He's our hero. Gonna take pollution down to zero. And I just know the Planeteers part was my
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
We're the Planeteers, and you can be one too. Cause saving our planet is the thing to do. I used to love that
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
I
Captain
love
Planet.
that show. So Captain Planet is definitely on my list. Rugrats was on my list. I did have the whole Saturday morning, whatever that looks like, because I feel like it was like X-Men, Batman, and then like all the Looney Tunes stuff that came on. We used to
Yeah.
be done at around noon. I
Yep,
remember
yep.
that the cartoons was over at noon on
Then we
Saturday.
go outside.
Yep.
Yep.
So that whole roundup, even though it's not a cartoon, I feel like it should be mentioned. Fraggle Rock was the stuff.
Fraggle Rock was good.
Like Fraggle Rock was my show. Like that was a show that could keep me entertained for a while. Like I loved everything about that show. The trashy has spoken. Like I just love Fraggle
Yeah,
Rock.
absolutely. Did you watch like Lamb Chop or anything like that?
Absolutely.
Lamb Chop was my
Chops
joint. That was my
and
joint
My
too.
Little Pony was my own
Yeah.
personal show. Like
There you go.
or Care Bears. Like that was probably my thing that I had to watch once my brothers were
It's
done.
gone. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
But yep. Those are my tops. I think
So,
honorable mentions are
yeah.
great. Like you said, Doug was one of my shows, if not for just the music alone. Like that Killer Tofu.
We were just saying that
song.
last night. One of our friends, she just turned 30.
Really?
And we went to Hibachi Grill, Yukai, and there was some tofu in my miso soup.
Yep.
And I showed Bean, and then here come, my guy Joe. He was like, just all of a sudden, ooh, ooh,
Hey, Killer Tofu.
So yeah,
Sorry.
and I think the group was called The Beats.
Yep,
Yeah. So
I loved it.
So yeah, man, Doug was
Doug
yeah,
was good.
that was a
Recess
good
was
show.
good too. I mean, those are some solid honorable mentions that you listed. It's like, yeah, you don't really know. It's really not much outside of cartoon world. Outside of
Yeah, I
that,
mean, man, you had Pepper Ann, like so. These are like those one Saturday morning cartoons
Yeah.
that was on like ABC. Um, like I I started kind of watching some things on Cartoon Network, but like for us, and Cartoon Network wasn't free at first. It was something that you had to order. It was like an extra
It
thing that you had to
was.
order. So like we didn't get Cartoon Network like when we were younger. But I was kind of in that phase where like my younger brother was like starting to watch some of the Cartoon Network stuff, right?
Yep,
And I kind of watch some of those things too, but solidly were all the ones that I mentioned, that I
absolutely.
watched,
Those are
that was
pretty solid.
on all the time. So, okay. So now we're going to transition again.
Let's do it.
We're going to transition. So, where are you going? So this is the segment. Where are you going? And this is just a segment, just to talk about. It can be next week. It can be 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10, whatever, or it can be like, hey, when I'm getting ready to retire, this is what I want, my business to look like, or,
Yeah.
my life to look like, and yeah, so where do
Where
you
are
see
we
yourself going?
going?
Yeah, where do you see yourself going?
I'm gonna say so. Before this year is out, definitely we would have completed the expansion. The city has really rallied behind us to help us get that. This has not been an easy thing by no means. And the city has really helped us in just kind of helping get our application pushed along so that we can get those 3 classrooms open. And so I'm excited to open that up before this year is out.
Good, good.
Around next year, we have a date for where our goal is by August of next year. We hope to be in phase 2 of that expansion, meaning to be moving over to that old McLaren campus to collaborate with all these fabulous
Yeah,
organizations that are there, and Child and Family Charities has just done so much work to work with us and getting us to be like that on campus provider. So that's where we hope to be within a year. Simultaneously, while all of this is happening, Maria and I have become trainers on my registry as well.
wow,
And so we are excited
that's
to
big
be
time.
hosting our first training next month in September. We are one of 3 presenters who are going to be presenting at a Great Start to Quality
Wow,
conference. And
wow,
so that's a big deal. And we got an opportunity to speak this year at the Infant Mental Health Conference, which was a big deal. And so this is kind of like a side that we didn't see coming. Like, once again, Maria and I, we are passionate about what we do with early
yeah,
childhood development. And I've always kind of had that mindset that as long as I just kind of do my job, that our work should speak for itself. And I
absolutely.
feel like we're in a season where it's starting to speak. And
Yes.
now we have to go speak. And we didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
And so, but it's an honor. And so what I see now is that, whatever it is that we have, not only are we training up the next generation of providers within our own facility, but I feel like God is opening up doors for us to be able to train other leaders in the industry as well. Other providers in the industry as well are reaching out saying, hey, can you mentor my director? Can you talk to her and give her some pointers? Hey, can you come and can you mentor this person over here? They're
man,
starting a
that's awesome.
business. And so we definitely didn't see that coming, but I take that as an honor. We can't watch all the children at Little Dreamers, so this isn't a
Yeah,
competition thing to us. We came to be a part of a community, and
that's
so I
good.
really see us immersing ourselves in that thing, however needed, really, so that we as a unit, all of us as early childhood educators, can get whatever it is that we need to do this important work. You know what I mean? That needs to be
Absolutely,
done.
absolutely, man. It got to be done.
It does.
Because as we, mature and get older, like we now, get, handed the torch, right? Where
Yep.
like now we got to pour it into
Yes.
the next generation, right?
I
So
had an epiphany about that.
yeah,
Like, I turned 40 this year, which I was so excited about. And in turning 40 and just reflecting over my life, it's like, you are the adult of this generation
yeah,
now, which is scary because I don't feel like an adult. Like, I
yeah.
do, but I don't. It's like,
Absolutely,
what?
absolutely,
What do I have to do? And so, but really taking up that torch and saying, okay, like, what do I plan on leaving for the next generation?
absolutely.
And so I just feel like we have a beautiful opportunity to do that. And so I definitely see us putting together trainings and bringing like I don't know if you have seen how we get down for our professional development, but we have a lot of fun, and our
Absolutely.
staff already knows that we are over the top. We have done things like secretly whisking them away to Grand Rapids for a
Hmm.
day to just pour into our team. We've done
Yeah.
escape rooms together to bond and to
Yep.
build,
Yep.
and really just pouring into them. Taking them, I took them to the Parade of Homes so that they can be inspired beyond what it
Man,
is that they
that
see, and
that
we
is
were able to
awesome.
have great conversations about that and great conversations about how we can pull that inspiration into childcare and how we care for these babies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And really taking on a spirit of excellence when it comes to that. Because, like, if I could be honest, if I were to sit down and say, okay, there's 2 hotels that you can stay in the city. This one is excellent and this one is mediocre. Which one would you choose to stay at?
Which is an excellent one.
Right. And so if someone were to come and they say, you know what, Josh, you want to have an excellent life or you want it to kind of be mediocre, which one would you suggest?
That's good.
The excellent life, right? So when it comes to care, we gotta, like, I want to teach them how to give excellent care, because we would choose excellence, but then sometimes it's hard to figure out how to give that in return. And so when people come to Little Dreamers, I'm not selling perfection, but what I am selling is that I have a team that is committed to excellent care. So as you bring us if there are concerns, we are committed to excellent care. And so we use that to help train and teach and mold us so that we can continue to grow in that pursuit of excellent care. And so, like, that's important to me. So that is what we want to leave behind for the next generation. I want to show you how to do it and how to do it well.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that.
And I mean, you are the blueprint,
Thank you.
Because we've seen, some of the other childcare centers. We've seen, we've seen these things. And when I say that Little Dreamers, and I am talking from experience,
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna talk to this camera here. I'm talking from experience that Little Dreamers is a place that you want to send your kids.
Thank you, Josh.
And I'm always trying to send people to you.
Thank you.
That have younger kids, because the way you took care of my kids, especially like being a first time, like father, with my son. Layla was easy. It was like, oh yeah, no brainer, right?
That was my sweet girl.
Yeah, but like, first time, father with my son, and not really like wanting to leave him with anybody, just anybody, like you made it
Thank you.
comfortable for me to leave my kid with you.
Thank you so much.
And he has grown. You shaped him too. I mean, you've poured into him, where now, like you've shaped this like young man into like what he is now. Like,
thank you.
So I thank you.
Thank you so much.
I thank you for
that means a lot to us, Josh. Like,
for the excellent child care that
you
you've provided over the years. And, I pray that, things just continue to flourish and grow. And I know they will.
Thank you.
Because of 2 factors. You are determined to be excellent.
I am.
But also, you got big God on your side.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's my guy.
Yeah, and he's looking after all of us, and he's challenged us to be better.
Come on.
Sometimes he just don't give you stuff, right? It's like, I'm gonna see what you're gonna do.
No, I've grown so much as a person and as a leader as a result of this journey. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, I'm so grateful. It's all of it, right? Because sometimes we look at, things are, opening up, or your business is blowing up, and all of that stuff is good stuff. But who I am becoming in the process of this far exceeds what accolades or what it may look like on the outside. Like, that is what I am most proud of. Like, I'm seeing myself grow in areas where I'm like, wow, that's like, you got to stop and give yourself, you got to stop just 1 second and acknowledge that. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it's a lot, especially coming from where I come from, and I'm so blessed and so fortunate. I have a group of amazing friends, and I love that, because we all know where we came from. We're coming from Flint, being a little scrappy and rough around the edges, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then really just going through this process and becoming, these amazing, successful, responsible young adults that have value and that are pouring back into the community. Like, to me, there is just nothing like that. And so I love it, and I'm grateful for it. I am.
Absolutely. So so as we, start to wrap this up, thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thank you for, taking time out of your busy schedule, to come out to Risky Studios.
Yes.
I did want to come to like the center, but hey, this is the more chill, relaxed, place, you know what I mean?
We'll have you back, because one thing I did not get to talk about is we actually were selected to host the legislators this year. And so next month in September, the legislators are coming to Little Dreamers.
Really?
They're going to read stories to my babies. We're going to give them a tour, and then
let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
We get to tell them who we are. And I mean, they've already played such a beautiful role in helping us, and getting to where we're going. But that's an honor to me to be selected, that they reached out and said, hey, we heard great reviews from you from Great Starts to Quality. We want to
Yeah.
see if you guys can host this. That's amazing. And so,
Man, that's awesome.
yeah, we definitely want to have you out, have you come film, do some shots.
Whatever you
and
need.
yes,
I'm there.
that
I'm
would be
there.
amazing.
Yeah. I'm there for sure.
That
For
would be
sure. So,
amazing.
in this camera here, any last words, remarks, or anything like that, and
Mercy remarks. I would say do it in spite of the fear. If you are an entrepreneur or somebody that wants to start a business, you're going to be scared. And I think sometimes people might look on the outside looking in and think, wow, I wish I could do that. She must be fearless. I'm always scared. I'm scared right now, to be honest. I'm always concerned. I'm always like, oh God, do we have enough? There's always
Absolutely.
something. And so, but do it in spite of it. Do it while you're scared. Do it while you're nervous. Do it while you are frustrated. Do it in the midst of being angry, but just do it and stick with it, because you just never know what's on the opposite side of that thing. And again,
Absolutely.
if I would allow my fear to keep me in that state where I didn't want to start, I would have never been able to experience all that we've experienced.
Man,
Again,
so much.
not even just the business success, but the families, the people that I've gotten to meet, the little lives, the little hearts that we've gotten to pour into and to mold. Like, that means something to me. And so I'm just grateful. And again, if you are a believer, just know that God is with you, like Josh said.
Man, he here.
He is with you.
Nowhere,
it will not look like how you think it's going to look like,
talk about
but
it,
he
please.
is with you, and he will show you what to do next. And so he has never left me without wisdom on what to do next. So I appreciate that in him.
Absolutely. You just got to inquire of him, right?
Yep.
And like, one thing that I do understand now is that, like you said, like, it might not look like what you thought it was going to be because it's not about you.
It's not. Sometimes I was like, God, I need staff. God, please send me more staff. He's like, you don't need staff. But then he showed us how to rework with what we already had. So I didn't need to hire anybody. I just needed to reclassify and move some pieces around it. And then it was like, we have magic now. Thank you. Like, we didn't even need anybody.
Absolutely.
But he does. Like, it might not look like what you asked for. Like, I asked for help when it came to this, but it came in this form. And so just being open and being flexible and like.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and that's, I said this, I was talking to him this morning. And I ended the prayer with just not my will but yours. You know what I mean? And and for me, that's big of me. Somebody who wants to have control of everything.
Come on.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And he's like shaped me into that though.
Yep.
He's like humbled me. Into that where I can be like like whatever happens. You know what I mean? But not my will.
Yep.
But yours, right? Because at the end of the day, everything we do is for the glory of God.
It is.
You know what I mean? So, Little Dreamers, Risky Studios, everything that Miss Maria does for,
yes,
for the center, is for the glory of God.
It is.
But yeah, like, again, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Josh.
for being here.
Yes.
This has been great. And like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. If this has blessed you, share it with somebody else, please. That's all I ask. Because, man, on the Risky Lifestyle Podcast, we are just handing out flowers, man. We are, just doing the work that, we have been called to do. And, this has been the Risky Lifestyle Podcast. And I have been your host, Joshua Southern, because Big Smooth, Big Risky, Big Josh, all that good stuff. And I want to thank my special guest, Miss Jacqueline Taylor, Little Dreamers Daycare Center, for stopping by. And thanks again.
Yes.
Peace and blessings.